Well, welcome back to Wind Tunnel. As I said before the break, my next guest, well, his eyes were totally focused and immersed in making it to the very top in Formula One. And then all of a sudden, all of the goals and the objectives got turned upside down, despite the fact that he was one of the reserve drivers in 2021 for Alpine in their Formula One effort when he came to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course and took to IndyCar racing, like, as they say, a duck to water. We're talking about Denmark's Christian Lundgaard. Christian, first of all, welcome to the wind tunnel. But more importantly, that all of a sudden immediate change, it kind of struck me that you could go for the bird in the hand, so to speak, versus waiting longer for a shot at Formula One and at least get in a winning combination at Rahal Letterman Lanigan and tackle going out and grabbing checkered flags.
Yeah, I think, racing in Europe and having that ultimate goal to compete in F1, I'm not going to say the dream has just disappeared, but the target is not necessarily to get there at the moment. If the opportunity comes in years, who knows if I take it or if I don't. It depends certainly on where we are here. If I struggle to perform here, we need to look elsewhere. The chance to come over here, the opportunity to come over here was nothing like I ever looked at it in my entire life. I had the opportunity to do the test. I was asked if I wanted to do the test at Barber in July last year, and I said, why not? I'm not going to say no to drive a new car. And I just loved it. And straight away, Piers asked me if I was going to be available for the race at the Indy GP, and I said, well, physicality was actually fine doing the Barber test. It was a full day test, so I said, why not? Why not try it? I spoke to my homeland, my investors, my sponsors, family, and everyone behind the scenes. And we decided to take the opportunity and do the race. And as you might know, it ended up pretty well. Qualifying the pace was there. The race was certainly longer than I expected it to be. I remember looking at the dash halfway through the race and thinking, I'm only halfway. This is going to be a long race. But, starting the season this year, that race certainly helped me. Competing in St. Pete, having that experience helped. It kind of just pushed the progress forward. Certainly still things to improve, but I'm looking forward for Long Beach, and I'm sure that will be a damn good one.
Before we go on to Long Beach, we've got to go back and revisit the journey to you acquiring an addition to your skill set. You know what I'm talking about? Oval track racing. As I understand it, prior to that rookie test at Texas Motor Speedway, you had never turned a single lap on an oval?
Nope. The rookie test was my first ever time on an oval. And I must say, after the morning session, I was kind of dizzy. Going those speeds, handling the G forces. And, you're just constantly driving around in circles at high speeds. That, as a European, that's what I would call it. But, it was shocking, really. But then, like 10 minutes after, I was feeling fine. We had lunch. We had some debriefs about the morning, the progress that I've made. I jumped in the afternoon and felt nothing. So, it just proves how quickly I adapted to kind of that new scenario and a new opportunity. I loved it. I must say it was scary at first, but we had, I think, 7 cars on track for the rookie test, and I think we were all pretty close in terms of speeds. We definitely weren't as fast in qualifying during the race weekend as we were hoping to be. We have found some stuff that could be the solution. Obviously, we're not going to be sure, as we're not going back to Texas this year. But, we have some ideas what it could have been, but we had a good race car. And I think we were making progress through the field in the race. And I think that test, the rookie test, helped me to get there. because I don't think there was one point in the race where I didn't feel comfortable in the car. So it proves, the adaptation is there. I can adapt to new things.
I was about to say, it seems to me, Christian, that your ability, and it is well above the norm, to adapt to whatever is thrown your way, seems to be maybe one of the critical components of your success. Is that something that comes natural to you, or was that something that you tried to diversify early on as a youngster so that you would develop that adaptability?
I think it has been developed, to a certain degree. It's natural. I think that is the difference between exceptional drivers and great drivers in the end. It's what is natural and what do they adapt to, what do they improve in their young upcoming career. And with me, as a small family with a bigger brother, we used to race karting. Obviously, we started in go-karts. We just raced nationally in Denmark, won championships there, and were competitive. And we took the decision to go internationally. So we actually kind of rented our house out in Denmark and lived in a caravan for a year. And we just drove to different countries, racing internationally. And I think that was 2014. I think that was the year where I developed the most, because you weren't just racing the guys that you usually race. So you know what to expect, and everyone is driven on the certain tracks X amount of times. Now you'd come to a new track with zero experience, driving against the best in the world that's probably been there 10 times before, and you just show up as a rookie. And I'm not going to say we were competitive straight away. We had some ups and downs. We had good weekends, we had bad weekends, but the budget wasn't really there for both of us to race. So I would do, like, if there was a championship of a certain championship, I would do one round and my brother would do another round, to try to use the budget to the full potential, and use our potential to the max. And I think that year is where I learned the most, because the following year I won the first race of the season internationally, and I won the European Championship. So I think that was kind of my step forward. That's where I improved myself the most and got this ability, I would say.
So I want to know, how did that year traveling from country to country and race to race prepare you in any way for what you are now facing? And that's being in the United States and having to acquire tastes for specific foods, a lot of what we call, we take for granted as Americans, things that are like the sun coming up in the morning. What has been the biggest adjustment for you?
I think it's actually settling down, which has been the biggest difference. And because I think since 2014, I've basically lived in a suitcase, traveling from hotel to hotel. And in 2021, last year, I lived in the UK near the factory of Alpine. So I was at the factory every day, but at the same time, we were racing in different countries. So you would come home, you'll be home for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe. You'd go to a country and race, and then maybe it's a double header where you race 2 weekends in a row. Then you'd come home for a little while, and then you'd go again. But that's the difference to here. Here we are racing nationally. We're racing in the same country, and you can be back home Sunday night, and you would sleep in your own bed. So I'm also looking forward for the road course again in the beginning of May. Because I'm pretty sure I'll be sleeping at home. It might be a different story for the Speedway, but for me, it's going to be a weird feeling. But that has been the biggest difference for me to kind of, I wouldn't say accept, but get used to, is that I've settled down here. Now I'm just living a normal life, but racing on the side. And I just think the culture in terms of European racing and American racing is different. I would say Europe is a little more hectic, a little more political, where here it's you put the car on the ground and you race. I think a very good example is NASCAR, that they don't do practice, they just show up and race. You know, it's just such a different atmosphere and way of racing. I'm not going to say I'm in favor of the NASCAR style, but you know, it's just different. And I think I spoke to Kevin Magnussen about this before I came over here, because he said I would love it over here because he's been doing the IMSA. And I said, well, let's see. I don't know. You know, I don't know what to expect. But I must say he was right.
Long Beach on the horizon. There are certain iconic events. In Formula One, you've got to look at Monaco, and winning that is an ultimate prize. In road racing, for whatever reason, and maybe it's because it's been there for so many years, running and winning on the streets of Long Beach is just a clip below winning, let's say, the Indianapolis 500. So how does a rookie, someone that's never raced there, prepare for going down, you know, the streets of Long Beach at the highest speeds possible? And how do you maximize it? How do you get ready for it, Christian?
I think, you know, once we get to the weekend, the most important is to be on pace straight away. What I believe will have helped me is having done St. Pete as the opening round. It's a street circuit. And that was the first time I drove the IndyCar on a street circuit. The Indy GP might be a wrong example of what I can do, because it's something I'm used to. It's a road course. It's what I've been doing my entire life. Yes, we've had street circuits on occasions, but you know, it's a car you've been used to at that point. So you might have done 5-6 rounds before you go to a street circuit. Where here it was just bang on straight into a street circuit this year in St. Pete, and I think that having that experience going into Long Beach is, I think, what's going to be my biggest benefiter, because I think that has helped me the most. But obviously, all the work that goes on and preparations with the team, preparations by myself, I'm not going to say exactly what I've done, because I've taken a different approach for this weekend than I've normally done to any other weekend. I've spent a lot of time in the simulator, in that room right over there, right now, 5 feet away from me, in my own simulator. And I've just, you know, done laps, and I've spent hours, a ton of hours just driving around. And I must say, when you've done 6 hours of simming, you get tired. You know, you don't want to do another hour. But you know, it's about working through stuff instead of just doing laps. It's actually experimenting and doing stuff. I've done a lot of work with the team to prepare. I know Jack and Graham. Jack obviously now fit to race, which I'm extremely excited for. I spoke to him yesterday and 2 days ago, and you know, just following his progress. And I think having 3 cars on the track as well, I know Graham has been successful there. I just got to learn from them, but at the same time, now I have the experience of an oval race. You know, I've gotten more confident in the car. We did St. Pete. We didn't start off with the best pace, but we caught up. We were competitive in the race. We were quick in the race. Potentially should have finished better than we did. After we had an overheating on the ECU, so the last stop took a little longer than it was supposed to, and we lost a couple of positions there. You know, so it proves we can do it, but we just haven't done it. And I think that's what really annoys us, is that St. Pete, we could have finished so much better with 3 cars, and we did. Potentially the same in Texas. We didn't have the best quali car, but we had a really good race car. Unfortunately, Graham got taken out, and Jack had his accident in P2. But in the end, we had Santino just jump in the car and straight away performed, you know. So it proves the car is there. We just haven't had the circumstances with us. And I am pretty convinced that this weekend, we're not going to take anything for granted. We're going to full send it and get a Rahal 1, 2, 3.
How about that, folks? The IndyCar Nation,
awesome. That would be awesome.
Look, the IndyCar Nation is waiting and anticipating not only that performance, but your continued adaptability. I do thank you for visiting with us. I hope it's not just a one and done. Hope you're a frequent visitor here in the wind tunnel, and wish you the very best of luck. First time out there on the streets of Long Beach, you're going to have a blast. Good luck.
Thank you. I'm going to have so much fun, I'm sure.